Oh, would you look at that? A story involving deteriorating race relations. Who better to talk about this than a South African? Especially one who's kind of drunk. However, if you guys are expecting me to say some incredibly based things, yeah, that's not going to be this video. Much. The stuff going through my head when it comes to this,
It's not, strictly speaking, legal.
yeah, that'd be the reason I wouldn't put it on Rumble. Hell, I probably wouldn't even put it on Odyssey even. You know whose commentary on this I would have loved to hear? Pastor Louis. Man, I miss his jogger streams. Those were funny as hell. Probably would help if I mentioned the video subject matter. In fact, let's watch it.
You call him the child?
The fuck you talking
Did you
about?
call the child the word?
None of your fucking business.
It is my own business. You call him Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again?
Fuck you.
Alright, that's what you say.
You don't go digging through people's shit, you dumb fuck.
Nobody dig into your shit.
A little fucking kid just did, you dumb
That little kid, you call him
Yeah.
the little child?
What if he acts like one, he's gonna
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a shit.
Huh.
Fuck off.
Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
Now, the lady in question here, Shiloh Hendrix. Gonna be honest, if I didn't know her complexion, I probably would have made some erroneous assumptions, and I know I'm not the only one. Crowdfunded more than $500,000 off this, and don't you just love to see it? Oh, the memes are hilarious. Now, I'm gonna tell you all some ugly realities. This is not meant to be black pilling or red pilling, more clear pilling than anything else. Perception is reality. What you're exposed to and fed repeatedly is what sticks. Truth is rarely what sells. Emotional appeals is what sells, and sells well. Change is always top-down, never bottom-up. Populism is a lie. I pray I'm wrong, for once, but no legislation will be brought forth because of this. It will not be discussed anywhere near the levels of power. Nothing tangible will happen. The Trump administration right now is a cringe, embarrassing shit show. And if you're really honest with yourselves, you would admit this. From the tariff fiasco, we're not seeing record-shattering deportations as promised. The war in Eastern Europe, which Russia was always going to win, Trump did not bring to heel within a matter of 72 hours. And don't even get us started on Israel or how the now former National Security Advisor Mike Waltz was caught using Israeli-modified tech to relay and receive potentially classified information. Geez, I wonder on whose behalf he was doing that. The whole Doge thing is nothing more than a digital version of a cheerleader on a Times Square billboard going, "We got government spending, woo." It's like Thomas Massey said, cut the bullshit, we know the dance. Democrats grow the welfare state, and the Republicans grow the military-industrial complex. Growth for growth's sake is the ideology of the cancer cell. Given that, it's hardly a surprise to see people hate the state. In a governing model of Big Ten politics where raw bodies count for numbers, thank you House of Representatives, the realities of multiracial strife is nowhere near the list of priorities for anyone in power. In the regime's sense of things, this stunt is nothing more than the peasants throwing about some loose change, really. The different reaction this time around does not automatically translate into meaningful change despite the visceral, real feel of it. You can hate me all you want, but this is the reality of things, and on some level you all know this. As is the case with modernity and social media seemingly becoming this factory where people have taken to microdosing red pills till their brains are fried to high heaven, there is a propensity for people to see something like this and immediately get skeptical and jump on the PSYOP train, which is understandable, admittedly. I can't exactly fault them for that, especially given recent events. But when I saw this reaction, I couldn't help but think of a bit in Scrubs where Dr. Kelso says, "I prefer to create an environment where the subjects end up crushing themselves." I don't think it's stupidity or malevolence with intent. I think it's a lack of care and a selfishness so disturbing it comes off as psychotic. I was discussing this with another content creator about the character of the elite, and he said, "I look at the ugly, bloated elite and think, I can see why you preserve a system lacking virtue, as you would never reach this position naturally." I very much concur with his sentiments. The media, however, remain blind and partisan as ever, and as such, if not fueling the PSYOP angle, keeps face-planting into a wall. I mean, look at this. This is from the New York Post, supposedly conservative. Oh, wait, Douglas Murray's featured there, isn't he? So you might notice where their allegiance lies. I mean, look at this opening paragraph. Minnesota woman caught on a viral video calling an autistic child citation very much needed assholes. The N-word is painting herself as the victim. She was literally threatened because of this, and has raked in more than $500,000 in an online fundraiser after declaring her personal information had been leaked because of the incident. It was. Shiloh Hendrix identified herself as the mother caught on camera this week hurling the vile slur at a 5-year-old boy. Did you see the size of that kid? He's closer to 10 than he is to 5. There's no way in hell he is 5. Allegedly caught rifling through her bag at a playground in Rochester, about 90 minutes south of Minneapolis. Hendrix can be seen in the clip turning her ire and profanity, oh lord, on the black man who confronted her and filmed the incident. Now, considering we actually saw the footage just now, you might notice this opening is riddled with inconsistencies. I don't know if it's because of pathetic narrative weaving, the state of journalism, dishonesty, or a combination of all of the above. First off, there's no caught on camera hurling slurs at the kid. If there was, we would see that. We only see the so-called confrontation. And then it's allegedly caught rifling through her bag. So, allegedly rifling through the bag, but caught on viral video hurling slurs. How slow-witted do you have to be to get your phone out between mother catching the kid in the alleged act, but definitely hurling the insults, to ultimately end up with evidence of neither? How the hell does that make any sense? We're off to a great start. They mention the recorder's name, Omar, a 30-year-old male of Somali descent who claimed the kid is autistic but is not related to the boy, told the outlet. And suddenly we have a Chinese military parade's worth of red flags all over the shop. If he's not related to the boy, pray tell, how the hell does he know the kid is autistic? There's no evidence of this at all. And what the hell is a 30-year-old man doing in a playground with children and his phone out? Could it possibly be because he's a predator, given that he was charged with 3rd and 5th degree criminal sexual conduct and the judge dismissed the case in the interest of justice? Again, I can't say what I'm thinking because
It's not, strictly speaking, legal.
I feel like I'm going to get a lot of mileage out of that clip in the future. But is any of that going to get mentioned? No. In fact, when she finds out this man's been harassing her, posting recordings of her and his litany of prior problems with law enforcement, the article sees no reason to dig further into any of that, instead deflects and mentions her own convictions without a shred of evidence whatsoever. As if her actions magically cancels out the fact he should be rotting in a prison cell back in Somalia where he rightfully belongs. Given how this article started, I find myself rather skeptical of these dubious claims, and as such, I feel the need to go tell one Catherine Don Levy.
Go fuck yourself.
Very appropriate if I do say so myself. But of course, she just couldn't help herself. No. She just had to say one last stupid thing. Some online commentators claimed Hendrix's fundraising from the incident was a public reckoning. It was, after the family of Texas teen Carmelo Anthony, who is black, thanks for that, raised more than $500,000 following his arrest for allegedly fatally stabbing a white teen.
I'm gonna bust this bitch head as soon as we get outside.
You just gotta love the race betting, don't you? I think you'll find it's rather challenging to allegedly fatally stab someone. Oh, and wouldn't you know the comments are turned off? Why, it's almost like they know they're full of shit and we get mauled into oblivion. You know, this kind of bullshit is how one goes from suspicious to noticing. All of the news is focusing on the slur. Damn near none of them on the fact the clip features a 30-year-old male foreigner in a playground with children with a criminal history of sexual misconduct involving minors. Even the author of this article is a white woman. Combine all of that with the fact the clip is available in under 5 clicks on X, that you can't help but speculate nefarious intentions, and a public reckoning isn't even on your radar. Oh, and speaking of the public reckoning, and I have to be very careful with how I phrase this, Western civilization has had a problem, going all the way back to the Enlightenment and that stupid arsehole wig John Locke. We were sold a bill of false goods, a ticking time bomb called classical liberalism. Classical liberalism is a crock of bullshit, and has since then morphed from a philosophy into a borderline universally ascribed religion, the blueprint of the blank slate theorist. In many ways taken inspiration from, as David Starkey put it, the silliest statement ever uttered, the opening words to the Declaration of Independence. These truths are not self-evident, and we are not born equal. I mean, one look at the history of our species, anyone who clings to this pathetic myth is genuinely deranged. The notion that all humans are born the same with equal capability, that all that's missing is the right code they playfully call education, will simply divorce themselves of all beliefs and tribal identities, and conflict can simply be minimized, if not scrubbed, if we can all unite under the common banner of simply material betterment. Meritocracy, colorblindness, the religion of the secular materialist, and the ideology of the globalist. There is, of course, myriads of problems with this, such as the capacity for that education program to stick, and thus the methodology by which one attains said material betterment becomes ever more intellectually and socially demanding, and thus those lacking the so-called God-given gifts are inevitably seen as a burden as their behavior is inadequate and out of control. A liberal society is not one that's free, as values do not come from freedom, but rather tight regulation and a degree of conformity that binds the fabric of social cohesion. Basically, a liberal society is nothing more than one with some or other arbitrary freedoms that the state doesn't interfere with to some or other acceptable degree based on what the people deem acceptable, presumably through not revolting because they already know how to behave anyway. And it turns out this social cohesion is the product of homogeneity and tradition, stretching far beyond the bonds of mere materialism. There's more to life than simply getting more stuff. It turns out multiracialism and multiculturalism is not compatible with classical liberalism. What a shock. For a very obvious reason. It was made by Europeans, for Europeans, in a society of damn near only Europeans. I'm sure you're familiar with the conundrum nature or nurture. I'll settle this for you. It's both. It's those whose nature is inadequate to be nurtured. And no, I'm not a genius. I can simply look at history and go, explain the wheel. The best seeds will not yield a fruitful harvest if the soil is barren, much the same way a genius can't be made from an idiot, civilized can't be forged from the uncivilized. The soil is permanently barren. And it turns out generation after generation of state-forced impositions, ranging from forced integration at gunpoint, the destruction of the right to association, the failure of affirmative action, the quite literally deathly catastrophes of DEI, endless series of openly anti-white sentiment, and continuous emphasis on racial consciousness has opened the racial consciousness of the ethnic European and made them recognize that every other race is able to advance causes for their race, and it comes at the expense of the ethnic Europeans. There was a post that Callum responded to, some idiot responding to Fuentes who said, either everyone gets to be tribal or no one does, and he said, let's go with no one does. To which Callum replied, the post-civil rights era asked all to drop their tribal identity, only the Anglo-Saxon American did. What are you going to do, ask nicely again? I agree with the sentiment, but not the post itself. The Anglo-Saxon American was not asked to, they were forced to. Much like everything else attached to liberalism, the melting pot is a lie. It is normal for people to be tribal, especially when their tribe is objectively better. And thanks to social media, ethnic Europeans can see this pattern is not isolated to America. Oh, no. It's in every corner of the globe, which makes them notice this push might be, subversive. And they're asking themselves, why do we need to put up with this? We are polite and passive to the point of detriment. What do we gain from sharing our lands, our resources, our people, and, let me just be blunt here, the spoils of conquest and conquer with those who don't share our God, our values, or bloodlines? And the answer is, nothing. If we simply went, no, we've had enough of this, screw off all of you, we're not taking this anymore, what would happen? Well, a couple of things. Crime would drop dramatically. As with the prison population, not to mention welfare payments, the average IQ would go up considerably. Business investments would be on the rise. Property value would shoot up. Social cohesion would be at levels not seen in a century. And most importantly, we would be free of all of this race-baiting bullshit. And so my question is, what exactly do you offer us, our civilization, in exchange for us not having any of that? You will never see anyone have the balls to ask that, let alone answer it, nor will they answer the follow-up. So now what? I mean, the answer is obvious to a handful of those who happen to have an IQ above 95, who can, see the writing on the wall and the lack of incoming wall to write on. Historically speaking, upsetting Europeans has a tendency to end kind of badly. We have the capacity to get organized very quickly, and when we do, we tend to create new things called nation-states. Now, like I said earlier, perception is what matters. So what exactly were the ingredients for this reaction? The stabbing of Metcalf definitely did the bulk of the work, but what made it worse with those who openly cheered Carmelo getting money for killing someone and saying they know nothing about the case, but they're rooting for him, and we all know the reason why. What was curious about this reaction, much like every other reaction, is the individual in question isn't even American, it's a Somalian, which means they would rather side with the should-be-in-jail law-breaking foreigner than with the American. They don't see nationality, they only see race. Push comes to shove, they will always side with those that look like them, and for whatever reason seem to be unable to understand doing this over and over again publicly is not exactly a good look. It turns out constantly demonizing those responsible for literally every single piece of technology and medicine you use might not be the wisest move. Neither is immediately calling the police and the NAACP, which totally doesn't make you look like an opportunistic bunch of bitches. It's causing pressure that will one day cause a reckoning. And will they learn anything? Well, they don't learn anything now, so no. I said this before, you should be an ambassador for your group, because action by group association is the standard default for human beings when it comes to pattern recognition. It's standard biological wiring. Why do you think everyone wants to be near Europeans? Not exactly rocket science, is it? Oh yeah, and we're responsible for that as well. But what I think really pushed people over the edge was the way they treated Metcalf's already pathetically feckless father, who groveled to the very people who were raising money off his kid's corpse. The vile arrogance to do that. Believe it or not, I'm actually desperately trying to suppress a rage I'm genuinely not comfortable with. But purely from just a psychological mammalian perspective, if you saw that behavior from someone of Pack A towards Pack B, and a member of Pack B killed a member of Pack A, Pack A would either abandon that person or likely get rid of them, because they're a weak link in the chain. There's a serious hindrance to their existence. The same way you see animals abandon weak young. The strength of the pack comes first. Very Spartan-like mentality. That level of cowardice, aside from demoralizing, is dangerous to a group's survival, and all of that rage, all of that energy had to go somewhere. Juxtapose that with Shiloh's reaction. Hard R, middle finger, no flinching, just proper boss mama bear energy. Watch the video back, her balls are so big they make the camera shake when she moves, it's beautiful. What set it on fire though, was at the end when he said, "We'll see what the internet has to say about you." Fuck you! That threat was the kick-starting catalyst met with an overwhelming arsenal of money-chucking middle fingers. It turns out what they have to say is, we're gonna make her a millionaire, because fuck you! No word of a lie, when I first saw her, my reaction was, how many children does she have, and would she like some more? Cheers for watching once again, I apologize for nothing.